There's a grill that's so ubiquitous and so beloved, it basically spawned modern grilling culture in America. No, I'm not talking about your fancy pellet grill. I'm talking about this guy, the Weber Kettle. The Weber Kettle is a great grill, and this model will set you back almost $400. Now today we're gonna see if this $90 VEVOR kettle grill can stand up against the GOAT. Does more money really mean more better? Let's find out. Welcome to the Grilling Dad. Is it super fair to compare this $90 kettle grill to my $600 Weber Kettle setup? Probably not. But didn't your parents ever tell you life isn't always fair? Weber Kettle is the gold standard in kettle grills. That's what I'm gonna compare it to. I have cooked dozens, if not hundreds of hours on the Weber Kettle. It's well built, it's versatile, and it produces amazing food. But I got to wondering, is the Weber Kettle really that great? Or am I just paying for the name and the history? So I picked up this 22-inch VEVOR charcoal kettle grill to pit against my Weber. We're gonna compare them head to head on assembly, build quality, features, accessory compatibility, price, and food quality. Stick around because I think the results might surprise you. Now let's start with the assembly process. Now while I received my Weber kettle fully assembled, I can tell you just by looking at it that the Weber is much easier to assemble. Trust me, I'm an engineer. The VEVOR wasn't an altogether terrible experience, but there were a couple of steps where it was really helpful to have my wife help me. Assembly could have been simplified by combining some parts or mimicking the Weber's design, i.e. for the legs, and installing the lid handle sucked because I had to get these sausage fingers in here to tighten these screws. All in all, it took 45 minutes or less to get fully assembled. There are lots of nuts and bolts that went into this, and I just hope they never need to be tightened. So as far as assembly goes, we're gonna give the win to the Weber. Came pre-assembled, even if it doesn't, super easy assembly process. The build quality, mainly the quality and thickness of the materials, is nowhere near as good as the Weber. The VEVOR weighs a full 10 pounds less than a stock Weber 70th anniversary model. That being said, the build quality is still better than I expected on a grill in this price range. The metal is thicker than I would have expected, and overall, the grill is actually pretty sturdy. The paint looks nice, but I'll be curious to see how it holds up to thermal cycling and wear and tear from cooking and weather over the next several years. I would not trust this little accessory caddy to hold much of anything other than a grill brush and tongs. In fact, I set my grill lighter in this basket the other day and it immediately fell out. The lid holder works well, but doesn't give me as much confidence as the lid holder on the Weber. The thermometer on the lid of the VEVOR seems a little sketchy, but you could easily swap that out for something like a True or some other thermometer. I typically use digital thermometers to monitor my grill and meat temps, so that's not a big deal to me. Now for build quality, the Weber is the hands down winner. I really like the idea of this large rack under the VEVOR grill versus the triangular shelf on my Weber, but the metal isn't super thick, so I don't think I would put a full bag of charcoal on it. And because it isn't a smooth surface like the shelf on the Weber, you can't put smaller items like fire starters or a lighter down there. It seems mostly useful to support the legs of the grill, not as a shelf. The wheels are nice and this unit is light and super easy to maneuver. The ash bucket on this thing is huge and easy to remove and reinstall. In fact, I like this design better than the Weber. There are also two sizable vents on the ash bucket to allow for more airflow. There are two things I really don't like about the VEVOR, and they are the flat bottom of the kettle and the lack of ash sweepers. On the Weber, the bottom is rounded, which encourages the ash to keep funneling to the bottom of the grill. That, in combination with these ash sweepers, which actually control bottom venting as well, makes cleaning the ash out of the bottom of the Weber super easy. Just move this handle back and forth and sweep the ash through the vent holes in the bottom of the grill where it falls into the ash bucket. Because these features are missing, the VEVOR will require more frequent cleaning to properly function. For someone who grills a lot like me, this is a big deal. For overall features, I gotta go ahead and give the win to the Weber. My favorite accessory for the Weber kettle is the Spider Grills Venom. I cannot explain to you just how much I love this thing. It's basically a smart fan to control the temperature on your Weber kettle. It's Wi-Fi connected and helps you get pellet grill convenience while still getting the amazing flavors of cooking with charcoal and wood. Highly recommend. Unfortunately, the Venom is not compatible with the VEVOR kettle grill. Another great kettle grill accessory that I use all the time is a slow and sear insert. This is a convenient way to get two-zone cooking in your kettle grill for reverse searing or for low and slow smoking. Even though the slow and sear doesn't fit quite as nicely in the VEVOR as it does in the Weber, it is close enough and works just fine. I used the slow and sear in the VEVOR to cook some pork steaks and they were amazing. For accessory compatibility, I'm gonna give the win to the Weber again because of the compatibility with the Slow and Sear, and the Spider Grills Venom. So now let's talk about price. The cat's out of the bag on this one, but as of filming, the VEVOR kettle grill is running about $90 on Amazon, and this 70th anniversary Weber kettle will set you back $400. Plus another $200 for the Spider Venom. That means for the cost of my Weber kettle setup, you could buy 6 of the VEVOR kettle grills. Just imagine how much food you could cook with 6 grills and 12 arms. I'm just saying, that's worth some consideration. For price, we have to give the win to the VEVOR. It's about 1/4 the price of the Weber kettle. All right, now for cooking and food quality. It was easier to manage and maintain temps on the Weber kettle with the Spider Venom, but at the end of the day, both grills produced delicious, smoky, tender, juicy pulled pork for a big family gathering we were having. No one, not a single person, myself included, could distinguish which pulled pork came from which grill. That is a big deal. Like I've said before, I recently cooked some pork steaks on the VEVOR, and they were the best I've ever grilled. Rest assured, you can make some world-class food on the VEVOR. For overall food quality, we're gonna go ahead and say this is a tie. Both produce fantastic food, and again, my family and myself couldn't tell the difference between the pulled pork cooked on either grill. If I had to do it all over again, I'd shell out the $600 for my Weber setup. If I couldn't afford to do that, I'd look for a used Weber on Facebook Marketplace. It's well built, and it's got a couple features that I just can't live without. Plus, it's compatible with the Spider Grills Venom. Now, if I couldn't afford that, and I didn't cook as often, the VEVOR is a great choice. I'm gonna be bringing this one up to the cabin, and I'm really excited to add it to the arsenal up there. The build quality means it probably won't last as long as a Weber will, but for the price, that might be fine. If you're interested in learning more about either of these grills, check out the links in the description below. While you're down there, be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons to stay up to date on all the Grilling Dad content. Remember, it's all made by dads, for dads. Grill on.